Hey guys, how's the audio sound? Made a few adjustments to the stream layout wise, so hopefully they'll be a little bit more visual friendly. Let's go ahead and move you right there. Can you hear a squeaky chair loud and clear? Perfect. That's what I was hoping for. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started. First, let me draw your attention to the bottom right corner. I made these cool little things. So I hope you're proud of me, Dad. If you're watching. Anyway, let's talk about the market, shall we? Let's look at it from the macro level, and we'll move inward, right? So let's go ahead and clear this off. Let's actually look at the weekly, and let's get rid of the Ichimoku stuff, because something happened on the weekly that's worth talking about. So on the weekly, so we see the 50 and the 200 EMA, right? These are weekly candles. And on the weekly, we see we've currently found support on the 50 EMA at 6,700-ish, right? So we're about $500 above support level. And as we look at the 1 day, 6,700 is like right here. It's the bottom of the previous candle, or 2 candles ago. And the market's trying to decide what it's going to do right now, right? It's pretty choppy. And if we look at the 12 hour, something interesting also happened. There was a death cross at 4 candles ago. And just a brief recap for those who don't know. A death cross, if I can find my stylus, there we go. A death cross is when the 50 and the 200 EMA cross, and the 50, which is this top row right here, crosses down from the top below the 200 EMA. So this is the 50, this is the 200, and this event is pretty bearish. So although we see a lot of volume here on this bounce, I'm not game to call it bottom just yet. There are a lot of things that need to take place before I'm willing to concede the end of a bear market. But it does look like a temporary bottom is in. So, you know, if you bought down here, it's not very likely to see a move below support anytime soon. And here are some things that are supporting the market at the moment. So if we look at the Ichimoku cloud and take the blinders off here, so one interesting thing that happened, which you can argue is bearish, is on the 12 hour. So we see the death cross here. But for those who are familiar with the Ichimoku stuffs, the anatomy of the Ichimoku, there are 3 spans here. There's a lagging span, and there are 2 different speed, basically like different moving. You can think of them as different moving averages. One's a slow and one's a fast. And right now we're currently finding resistance on this guy right here. This light blue line, if you can see it. It came up, it touched it, and it bounced right back down, which also coincides with a macro 61% retracement value. So if you're drawing your retracement lines, unlike the daily candles, it'll probably be easier to see. Starting at the beginning of the parabola. Let's take the Ichimoku off for a second. We see here, if you start your Fibonacci lines and go them up to the very top, we're currently testing from the bottom the 61% retracement values, and we're doing so on less and less volume with each candle. You can see it kind of fading here. That's not to say it won't bounce, come to a bottom and rally up, but for now, it's just exhausted. It made a very strong move from 6,000 to 8,000. A 2K move is a 33% market move from its local bottom to its current top. And yeah, you know, it hit its resistance. And something else that's also really interesting is if we zoom out a little bit, it also found resistance on this macro channel that it's in as well. So we see the price has been moving along. It's been testing lows, 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 lows. It broke below it, and now it's finding resistance on it. So there's a lot of stuff posing as resistance right now. Not a whole lot of support to speak of at the moment, but there is the 1 week 50 EMA, and that's at 6,700. So 6,700 is going to be like right in here. So we've got nice support right here, but in terms of like, you know, anything between here, not a whole lot, and that's why I think we're seeing a little bit of a retracement right now. So what's next? Well, if you look at the lower time frames, like on the 30-minute, for example, if you're a bull, you know, there's some stuffs on here that might get you all hot and bothered, like this inverted head and shoulders right here. So we see shoulder, head, shoulder. Here's a neckline, currently dipping below it. This isn't terribly uncommon for a price to move back. This is called a throwback. You know, when you've got a neckline like this. What's important to watch is that we need to see how the price is going to interact as it tests these values right in here, because if it continues downward, well then, you know, obviously it invalidates the inverse head and shoulders, but more importantly, if it doesn't get invalidated, it has a pretty steep price target. So price target for this inverted head and shoulders, here's the neckline. It's going to be about, let's say, 7,500. And where's the bottom? The bottom was at, let's say, 6K. So the move is a $1,500 move, right? And if it decides to come here and pushes back up, well, we could see 9K. 9K. So we could see the test of these values right in here. You know, something right in here. That's the target of this inverse head and shoulders right here. So a lot of interesting stuff is happening. The market hasn't decided if it's going to go up or go down. You know, if it comes down, there's also a possibility of making a double bottom. It could also just keep going. But for the time being, we're seeing, you know, a lot of high volume, so a lot of price interest in here, and it's making, you know, the textbook signs of an inverse head and shoulders. But we got to see how well it stays supported on this neckline, you know, over the next like hour or two, because if it keeps going, well, that's not good. And currently we're seeing, you know, pretty sustained selling on the way down. You know, like the volume's actually increasing on the way down on the 30-minute candle, so got to pay attention to it. So, anyone have any questions about all the stuff I just yammered on about? Any questions about that stuff? And I'm not done talking about it. I'm just taking a break to see if you guys have anything you want to add or any questions or whatever. When is the neckline invalidated? So the neckline is, you know, invalidating a neckline, there's no like hard line where it's like, oh, this is invalidated, you know. But so if we look at something like the 15 or so, and we draw a line here, something like that, you know, we're already below it at the moment. So here's the neckline, right in here. So we're currently below it at the moment. That's not to say it can't pop back up and rally upward. You know, that's happened in the past. That wouldn't be the first time it's happened. But currently we're back below the neckline. So, and selling volume seems pretty high. However, the candle spread is pretty narrow, so that means a lot of buys are coming in. And right now, it's kind of seeing like a bit of a battle right in here. You can see that the candle spread is very narrow for these three candles, and the volume is quite high. So that means that there's a lot of selling pressure right in here. And right now the bears are winning out on these three candles, but there's still there's still a lot of selling going on in the past hour and a half. Just a little bit more than buying though. That's the only difference. Could this be an automatic reaction of a new trading range, with the bottom being the selling climax? Ooh, someone's been reading the Wyckoff stuff. That's my theory at the moment, is that I think we're entering, it's too soon to tell, but I think we're entering into a new trading range. So if we look at like the 60, is that going to be a good view? Yeah, the 60. And let's unmerge you down. Okay, so if we look at the 60-minute here, yeah, this will be good. Okay, so let's look at a couple trading ranges that we've seen and show what this could potentially become. So, you know, of course, the infamous distribution trading range up here, where it took, you know, a month and a half to actually break down. We've seen a redistribution trading range right here. So here's one trading range. Here's another trading range. This was redistribution. And then, it looks like shit. Yeah. This could very well be the selling climax. This would be the automatic reaction. And we can go sideways until it figures out if it wants to accumulate or redistribute. I'm inclined to say redistribute, only because, well, I don't want to jump the gun just yet. But the way this neckline is breaking down for the inverse head and shoulders, it doesn't pose a very nice bull case at the moment. You know, again, this could rally upward, but at the moment I'm leaning toward redistribution rather than accumulation. But you know, this could very well be the beginning of an accumulation trading range in here. The way that this volume is interacting with the market, you know, it is high, of course, right? But this just doesn't seem like institutional buying here. There's nothing here that says like, man, this is like institutional buyers stepping in. We see it wide candle spreads on the way down, wide candle spreads on the way up. This looks like indecision to me. This doesn't look like institutional involvement stepping back in to sponsor a move to push it back up to a new markup phase. I think it's figuring out what it's going to do. And right now, this is going to be a selling climax. It's going to be an automatic reaction. And we should start drawing lines here because I think we're entering into a new trading range. This is what I think. Looks like an ABC correction after a 5 Elliott wave impulse. Yeah, I don't know shit about Elliott wave, so I'm not really at liberty to comment on it. Too much information out there, man. How are you gonna learn it all? But it does look like buyers are stepping in. You know, this could be a great long opportunity here. You know, if this does prove to rally here, this is a great long entry here because of this inverse head and shoulders neckline. We're right on it. And if this pushes above it, man, that's going to have one hell of a fucking price target. It's going to go up to 9K. That's a great chunk of change, you know. I mean, what's what did I say it was? What is this? I mean, that's basically a 25% markup from here. Can Bitcoin get to 3K, you think? If if this turns out to be a redistribution trading range, this could totally mark down to 4K. I mean, so okay, so here's the thing. Let's play devil's advocate here, right? Because it's very easy to get all excited and talk about Lambos and all that other stupid shit. But there's a very real possibility that this ends up going further south. One of the big things that sticks out in my mind is this bear pennant. Like, we haven't hit the price target of this bear pennant yet. So here's a bear pennant right here. And then here's the pull. The price target of this bear pennant right here was something like, I forget, 4.5K. Let's say upper, maybe 4.9K for being generous. And we fell short of it by $1,000. So okay, so that's one argument. Another argument, if we look at the daily price activity here, we're trending below the 200 EMA on the daily. And when was the last time we did that? Well, it hasn't been in the past 3 years. The last time we did it was, wait for it, the last bear market. Let's get rid of that Ichimoku. Get out of here. So last time we went below the 200 EMA was in March of 2014. So 4 years ago was the last time we went below. So that points to a very real major weakness in the market at the moment. Why did this unmerge? A very real, very blatant weakness in the market. And the fact that it's on the heels of this trading range up here and this breakdown of this bear pennant, it just doesn't look good. It really doesn't look good in my opinion. So if we look at the Ichimoku cloud, I mean, and we look at it on the weekly, if we break through this 50 EMA on the weekly, if we break through this support right here at 6K, which is this guy, and we come down, next line of support is going to be somewhere over here, somewhere in this zone, which is in the 4,000s, between 4,000 and 3,000. That's the next line of support, and by the time we get down there, that'll most likely be where the 200 EMA is too. So there'll be very, very, very strong support in here. Right now, there's not a whole lot of support. We're encountering a lot of major resistance here, and we have yet to prove ourselves and break through that. And I'm just not sold on a reversal just yet. I think possibly what's happening is this is rebounding on the heels of the stock market rally. But overall, like, I'm not like super impressed with this. I mean, it's a good bounce. Don't get me wrong; it's a good chunk of change, and if you longed that, then good on you. But there's a lot of proving ground still left. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, this is absolutely the bottom. Like, we don't know that. There's still a lot left that we have to break back through and rally through. $9K spike was denial. We're halfway through the panic. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sold on this being, like I said, I'm not sold on this being the bottom. So question, how long would the bear market last going on Bitcoin history? I don't know what that means. Would a break of 8K validate the head and shoulders? Wait, what? Would a break of 8K, where's 8K? 8K is way up here. Would a break of 8K validate the head and shoulders? I'm assuming you mean the inverse head and shoulders? Yeah, for sure. I'm looking for a rebound off this neckline here. Until we rally above this neckline, I'm not even considering going long. For those who are wondering, I'm drinking coconut lime kombucha today. Very tasty. Like I remember you saying a while ago, the correction could last for a year or two before Bitcoin rallies. Yeah, I mean, you know, I don't like Charlie Lee and I don't agree with him much, but I agree that like this is set up for a sustained bear market, not a one that's like a one and done, you know, blow its wad and then rally. Like this looks very unhealthy across the board. It looks very unhealthy. And there's a reason why a lot of Bitcoin shills are shutting the fuck up right now, and why people like Parabolic Trav are having like nervous breakdowns and praying to gods and stuff. Would institutional entities want an extended bear market? Yes, they would. That's the other thing is that, so here, okay, so let's look at this from a logical perspective here. Let's zoom out, and let's get rid of this. And here's my let's make this 6 hours. Okay, let's make it 1 day. Okay. So we're in a distribution trading range. Really, this is part of the distribution too. So we should really extend this down, like to here. This is the trading range that we distributed through. Okay. So that, and this should really go to like here or so. Oops. God damn it. So something like that. We ultimately broke through the trading range. Okay, and I'm not going to go into the details of this trading range, but we've only been out of distribution for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like basically a week. We've only been out of distribution for a week. That means we've been into the markdown phase for 1 week. We spent 2 months distributing, which means that institutional investors spent 2 months unloading all of their Bitcoin holdings, unloading them onto the public. That's what that means. So to sit here and say we had one little drop from 10K to 6K and all of a sudden it's done, I don't buy it. I don't buy that it's over, and I don't buy that institutional investors are back. Okay, but to play devil's advocate, maybe it rallies, it shows some strength, and then they come back. But that's not Bitcoin's bag. You know what I mean? Like Bitcoin went through a very long accumulation phase. It went through from January of 2015 to November of 2015. It spent 11 months accumulating in here, right? So here's Bitcoin's last accumulation phase, was right in here, and it was fucking brutal. And then it spent a year getting there. So just to have this 1 week, you know, happen and then it be done, I just don't buy it. I really don't. I thought it was general consensus that the herd of institutional investors weren't in yet. No, that's not true at all. I know for a fact that's not true because I know some of them. And the fact that this is following Wyckoff patterns, it's just that is the symptom. Wyckoff schematics like distribution and accumulation, those are the symptom of institutional investors and their hold on the market. Institutional investors can't sell and buy on the volumes and quantities that they do like normal people. They have to go through these like long, arduous processes. And that's what the whole Wyckoff theory is all about, is identifying those things. I think by bottom it means before redistribution, recovery, bull trap. Yeah. Like I'm totally of the mindset that this could be a temporary bottom before a bull trap on a macro scale and a continuation of the downtrend. Like I'm not opposed to that theory whatsoever. That wouldn't surprise me. I would honestly be more surprised if we made a new low before making a new high. That would surprise me. So I'm actually looking for more of a long entry than a short entry. But, crazier things have happened. This has been a bleeding market for the past week. It's just been bleeding. Slow trickle downward. Failed double bottoms. All sorts of shit. Failed inverse head and shoulders. Oh, here's another inverted head and shoulders right here that failed. So here's one that everyone was like getting a raging hard on about. They're like, oh yeah, oh you Bitcoin bears are fucking dumb. Here's an inverted head and shoulders. Blah. And then it was like, cool. It popped up and everyone's like, yeah, Bitcoin's back. And then it went boom. And then it popped up here and Parabolic Trav was like, see, I told you idiots. Now let's go jerk off in the gym. And then it just fucking died. And I was doing the same thing again. Like it's doing the exact same thing again. So just be careful, guys. Be careful out there. This does not look like a recovery to me. Do you see the head and shoulders on the entire crypto market cap? Yeah. So that's also. So that's another thing. So good point. Coin. So if we go to the chart of, get out of here. So check this shit out. The entire crypto market is in a gigantic head and shoulders that it just broke out of. This is this is total market cap of the entire crypto market, right? So here's the neckline here. We just broke out of it. Shoulder, head, shoulder, retest of the neckline. Beautiful retest, perfect retest, continuation. What is this? This is, let's say 800 bajillion. This is 400 bajillion. I don't think it's obviously not going to go to zero, but the fact that it only dropped, what is this, 100 billion? That doesn't make sense. It only dropped like 100 billion here. Look at this shit. Bitcoin is dead. New facts exposed. The great Bitcoin meltdown is here. Cash in on the next wave. I mean, with that beard, can't go wrong, right? I noticed like a month ago, shared it, now everyone is spreading it. Why dump on Parabolic Trav? Was that a pun? I'm not, I mean, listen. I shit on anyone who refuses to admit they're wrong. And the guy has been... Do we really need to have this conversation about Parabolic Trav and, like, why he's an issue? I'm sure he's a nice dude. Like, in real life, I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's got a smile like Sage Northcutt. So this inverted head and shoulders is actually kind of not looking very healthy right now. It's... Yeah, it's breaking well below this neckline. Does not look very good. I mean, it doesn't look very good from the standpoint of the inverted head and shoulders validation. This is starting to become more and more invalidated. And to be honest with you, like, I don't... The fact that Bitcoin's in distribution right now, I don't think there's any value in discussing many of the other coins because it's pointless. Like, they're all going down with Bitcoin. Everything's going down with Bitcoin. What do you... Bitcoin Schmitcoin, what do you make of McAfee's point when he posted on his Twitter, this shit happens yearly with a picture of charts? I think he doesn't know what he's talking about. It doesn't happen yearly. There are pullbacks yearly. There are pullbacks every few months. But distribution like this and markdown does not happen yearly. We've been in a three... I mean, I showed you the... Right? So here's the parabolic curve that we've broken. We've just completely shattered it. We've completely shattered this linear trend. This does not happen weekly, right? Like, these parabolic rises and demises happen twice a decade. Do you think the stock market crash will affect Bitcoin? It seems Bitcoin will bottom sooner than stocks. Yeah, so I do think the stock market crash will affect Bitcoin because if the stock market continues downward, the last thing a smart investor is going to do is put their money in crypto. Why in the fuck would someone who's losing money in stocks then shift their capital to crypto? That's a pipe dream. That's not going to happen. They're going to pull it into fiat or put it into gold and silver, and they're going to wait. They're not just going to like be like, oh man, the stock market's crashing. Let me put it into something more volatile and more, you know, that doesn't make any sense. I mean, last I checked, Bitcoin's down a hell of a lot more than the stock market is right now, so I don't buy that argument. I think that's a pipe dream, and I think that's Lambo nonsense. Do you think large state actors, for example, China with the capital means more so than covertly shorting down the market? Yeah. Do you think large state sponsors? I have no idea. I don't think they're doing that. I don't think the Chinese government is shorting Bitcoin. I don't think they're doing that. Maybe. I mean, who fucking knows? But I'm not going to trade like that because that doesn't help me. Can you share some quick thoughts on the Dow chart? What is your opinion on Ty Lopez pumping Bitcoin? I don't have one because I don't think of that fuck. The only time I think about him is when I get really annoyed because of YouTube ads. What do you think of EOS and BCH versus USD? I think every single coin is doing what Bitcoin's doing. So if Bitcoin goes down, they're all going to shit bricks. Analyzing these USD markets is pointless. I'm telling you right now. If you're not concentrating 99% of your effort on Bitcoin, well, I'd say 75% of your effort on figuring out what the fuck Bitcoin's going to do, you're going to lose your ass. Thoughts on Ether as a bounce play if Bitcoin moves up? Maybe. I haven't actually looked at this chart in a while. So at the moment, Ether Bitcoin has seen a pretty substantial retracement, right? Popped up to 0.12, retraced all the way down to 0.094. Goddamn. I mean, it could work out, but it just doesn't seem very healthy right now. I mean, we're seeing a lot of selling of Ether for Bitcoin right now. I mean, look at this volume down here. There's a lot of buying too, but I don't know. I think that would be risky. Something that's really interesting to me is how bullish Litecoin has been on these bounces. I don't know if you've been watching it for the past 3 days, but every time Bitcoin decides to bounce a little bit, Litecoin is just like outperforming the shit out of it. It was one of the few, the Litecoin Bitcoin ratio was one of the few coins in the green for the past 3 days. Neo looks like B-Band's double top on one day. Does it? No, it does not. That's not a B-Band's double top. It's not a B-Band's double top because the second high is lower than the first high. Oh, and the ratio, Neo ratio. Okay, so it was a B-Band's double top, but it already hit its price target, so it's irrelevant now. It already hit its price target was the bottom of the B-Bands, and it already hit it, so. So this is the question that should be being asked right here. So hypothetically, this is a question. Hypothetically, what would the end of the bear market / correction look like / what would you need? What would be needed for confidence? So full disclosure, I'm fully anticipating an end to the bear market, just like it did in the past. So the way it ended in the past was it had a long grinding accumulation trading range. I don't think it'll last as long, but who knows? You know, it's gonna have an accumulation trading range like this, with lots of fake outs, lots of liquidations, and then one day it'll just slowly start creeping up, and then it'll start its market phase again. But I don't think this is just gonna have a V bottom like it does right now. That doesn't. I don't buy it. See a new lows on this inverse head and shoulders here. I mean, it's starting to become invalidated here. This approaching invalidated territory in my eyes because of how low it is relative to the neckline. This doesn't look like a throwback. This looks like a failure to break out. Any other questions? So a B-band double top isn't a reversal pattern? No, it is, but it has a price target, and once it reaches its price target, then it's done. Man, a lot happened in a week, huh? A lot happened. Last stream I did, I think we were at 12K. And it saw a 50% retracement. Within that week. I think we were right here when I did my last stream. Or no. What was it? It was a week ago? What's today? It was like right here-ish. Yeah, about 12K. We bottomed, you know, we saw a bottom at 6K with a lot of volume. And there's also this really nice fib set I think you guys should keep an eye out for too. Like right here. This is it. No, it's not this one. It's this one. Wait, no, this isn't it either. God, I have too much shit on my charts. Jesus. Yeah, right here. So this fib set. Right here. Just keep an eye out for these levels here. So we saw initially we saw resistance on this 23. Let me move this over. We saw a retest of the 23 and it broke further down, and you know, it's totally possible we can come back up, test this 23 and break out. But what's really funny about it is it's the neckline of this inverted head and shoulders. So I actually take back what I said. I don't consider this inverted head and shoulders invalidated. If this thing goes up and retests this 23 and starts to move up, I'm going to consider a long here. I'm heavily considering a long here. It looks good. I don't think it's going to push much lower right now because of how much volume was involved at this current bottom. And I think this inverted head and shoulders is going to be a solid play. Schmidt, how can you distinguish between accumulation and distribution while they were happening? You have to look at the volume. So I'll show you. Oops. So the reason why I knew that this was a distribution trading range instead of a reaccumulation trading range is because the way the volume was interacting with the market and with price. So, you know, we see high volume on the moves down. So we see swelling volume here, right? On the moves down. On the moves up, we see decreasing volume. Again, on the moves down, we see increasing volume. So every time there's like a move down, we see spikes in volume. And when there's a rally up, the volume goes down. It's the same way I knew that this was a redistribution trading range. If you're in my trading community, then you would have been in on that trade there too. You would have been well aware that that was going to be a bear pennant rather than a reaccumulation, but same sort of dealio. This is actually hard to spot if you didn't know what you were looking at, because this bear pennant, it didn't really look like a traditional bear pennant volume-wise, but what you could tell from these dips and how you knew it was going to break down was that, again, as the volume goes, or as the price goes down, we see spikes in volume. Price goes down, we see spikes in volume. And then on the rallies, we see decreasing volume. And then ultimately, of course, as it broke here, we saw this large injection of volume with strong follow through down to our current bottom. So that's what you need to look for. Is you need to look to see how the volume is interacting with the price activity. And right now, it's a little too early to tell. Obviously, the volume is decreasing with the rally, but that could just be consolidation. But it's too early to tell at the moment. When am I playing PUBG? I'll probably play tonight, actually. Probably play PUBG. Actually, I've been playing a lot of Overwatch. It's pretty mindless. It's nice to just kill the time when you're, you know, when you're staring in front of charts. You can play Overwatch. And plus, you know, these chop trades are enough to keep you busy anyway. So, you know, if you're in my trading community, you know that these chop trades have been pretty heavily discussed here. But, yeah, I think that's really all I got to say. I don't really want to spend much time talking about the other coins, just because I think it's irrelevant. I think you need to be watching Bitcoin and charting accordingly, because in a bear market, everything goes down. And if you're saying that your altcoins are holding up because they're not falling versus Bitcoin, I think that's a nonsense statement. Because Bitcoin, it's not falling worth, you know, you're saying your altcoins are holding up versus Bitcoin, but Bitcoin's going down, and so your altcoins are being devalued inherently. You can buy less stuff with them. So, anyway, that's all I got for you guys. By all means, if you're interested in learning more and you like the way that you know, I explain things, come check out the trading community at bitcoinschmitcoin.com and you know, sign up. There's no commitment involved, you know, so if you only want to do 1 month, you're perfectly welcome to do so. Yeah, we currently got like 200 250, I think, 250 people in there, and a lot of really good quality conversation going on, and a lot of eyes in the market. You know, a lot of good stuff. So once again, thanks for hanging out. Sorry it was so short, but you know, I wanted to keep it brief, concise, and relevant. So how to learn trading basics. Well, join my trading community, of course. We'll help you out, my dude. Anyway, you guys have a great rest of your night. Don't stare at the charts too long, and be wary of bull traps. You know, like I always say, volume is going to confirm the trend, so keep an eye out for that, and don't get caught up in a bad trade. All right, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Bye.